Welcome to Get Booked with Jennifer and Mary. I'm Mary.
I'm Jennifer.
So how are you today, Jennifer?
I'm good. It's Mermaid Week at the library.
No way!
I love Mermaid Week.
I am ambivalent about Mermaid Week, but that is okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So I have some mermaid books, and you have some mermaid/sea monster.
Yes. I just took the general theme of ocean fantasy. So
Nice. Alright, my first one isn't much of a mermaid book, but there is a mermaid in it, and I love this series. The series name is Fairy Tale Reformed School, and the first one is Flunked. And it's about a girl who gets into trouble, and she gets into trouble so many times that she's sent to the Fairy Tale Reformed School. And it's all about, obviously reforming, but there's lots of princesses, and there's magic, and most of the characters are from fairy tales, so you can kind of see a lot with them. And of course there is a mermaid character in the series, and I'm not sure if she's in this one. She's one of the teachers at the school, and some of the teachers are good and some of the teachers are evil, and you just kind of have to figure out what's what. But it's a really great series, and the author is really nice too.
cool. So like it has an umbrage, is what you're saying?
No, but they're not always the nicest people. Because they're, bad. Like, the villains are there, and they're, like, the teachers and things.
Yeah.
And, like, they're not amazingly nice, but they're not umbrage.
Okay. Umbrage does have a special place in teacher fascism. So my first book is a YA fantasy book called Sea Witch by Sarah Henning. So Evie is in mourning because her best friend has died, and then suddenly this mysterious girl who looks a lot like her best friend washes up on shore, and then they become best friends. So this is a retelling of Little Mermaid, but it's more from Ursula's perspective. So yeah, there's a lot of magic in it. Of course, there are two cute boys that catch their attention, two princes, but like Evie keeps having to help her friend go back to the sea because, like, maybe she's a mermaid. I don't know.
What was that? I didn't quite catch that.
Maybe she's a mermaid or some type of sea witch. But yeah, so this is like a book if you like that blending genre of fantasy, mystery, and magic, which I guess is also fantasy. But you get my drift. What do you got?
Alright, my next book is actually the third book in the series. It's the Whatever After series by Mlynowski, who is also really nice. I think I've met most of these authors, ironically, at BEA.
I'm not surprised. Alright, what's BEA for some of our
Book Expo America. So it's like this really awesome book event, and you get to meet a lot of authors, and you get to get a lot of books, and it's amazing.
I call it Comic-Con, but for just books.
I call it Book Christmas. Either is pretty good.
Yeah.
Alright, so this one is called Sink or Swim, and what happens is it's Abby, I'm pretty sure. Abby and her brother Jonah. And there's a magic mirror inside their house, and they get sucked into different fairy tales, and they have to kind of help the fairy tales along, but of course they always mess up, and then they have to fix their mistakes, and it's all kind of a crazy thing. And they have to do this all in a certain amount of time before they can go back to their world and then make sure that the parents don't find out that they're missing. This one is obviously the Little Mermaid tale. They need to convince the mermaid to keep her tail, plan a royal ball, and avoid getting eaten by sharks. So it's a very fun series.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to do this one next. I'm going to do this one. So one of my favorite comics to give to every age is Lumberjanes. Lumberjanes is about a group of girls that go to a summer camp for hardcore lady types. And things just keep happening. Every story arc, they get a new merit badge, which usually you can see on the back, and there's an explanation for it. But in this one, one of the girls, of course, gets separated from the others, because that happens. And then she finds like a mixtape or something, and she's like, where did this come from? And it turns out there are mermaids living in the lake, and the mermaids have a band, and they split up because like one of them's like there's like a mean girl and there's a whole thing, and so they're trying to help the band get back together again. So it's a really cute story, and that actually does have mermaids, so I do have at least one book with a official mermaid.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and the thing about Lumberjanes is you can read them in order, but also if you're kind of familiar with the characters and you missed a couple of volumes, you can kind of just dive in, because for the most part, if you miss something, they do a lot of the upper story that will kind of lead you through. But you get like cute stories like mermaids that are in bands that are in a fight too, so it's super fun.
Nice. My next is a graphic novel. It's called Mera, Tidebreaker. And I like it because the cover shows the palette of the world too. So it's a lot of the, like the green and the pale part, and then of course the red hair pops really well. So Mera is, she's a princess, and this is a revenge story that doesn't quite turn out the way she thought it was going to be, because there's a boy, and she's going to kill him, but then she meets him, and you know, things happen.
Yeah, and that's part of the DC Inc. imprint that's coming out now. We actually just got the Aqualad storyline, which is an LGBT story. It looks really good, it's got really good reviews. Neither one of us, unfortunately, has read it yet, but it is up for circulation. I should have grabbed that one, because he also lives under the sea. So my next book, I might have talked about this one before, but if not, I'm just going to talk about it again, because I love it so much. Donnelly C. Parker's Seafire, Sisterhood of Survival is the tagline. It's essentially like Mad Max on water, which also could be seen as Waterworld, depending how old you are. So Caledonia is the captain of this ship, and it's an all-lady ship. They're all girls. They're all under, like, I think they're like 18 and 19 and down. And she and her best friend Pisces are originally from the same ship, and they actually, years ago, had gone out to do hunting and gathering for the ship. There turns out there is an evil warlord called Eric Arthur, who, like, will enslave children and, like, drug them and make them drug zombies and do their bidding. And he pretty much controls everything. And climate changes happen, so it's a big water world situation where there are some islands, but for the most part you're on the sea. At Caledonia, so you get the backstory with her, and that, like, Eric Arthur's ships of war boys, they're called something else, I can't remember, but they're essentially war boys from Mad Max on the water, who come and, like, sink her parents' ship, and, like, everybody's killed and lost, and, like, they just everything. The plot of this book is that Pisces and Caledonia, Pisces is her best friend and first mate, find out that maybe there's a chance to save their little brothers, and their little brothers didn't die in the initial carnage, and that maybe they have become war boys, but maybe they can save them. It's really cool. It's got a bunch of, like, girls doing awesome girl stuff, but also, like, not girl stuff, like fighting, and it's a great swashbuckling adventure tale. This book has a lot of world building, and then the second book, Steel Tide, is out. I read Steel Tide in a day because it moves so fast. The third one, I think, comes out this fall. I'm hoping it comes out this fall. I'm hoping pandemic didn't push publishing dates because I really need this book in my life. But it's a great, like, water adventure story. So I gushed probably a little too long on that. I'm sorry.
We all like a good book gushing. Alright, my next one is Jennifer Donnelly's Water Fire Saga series. This one is book 1. It is called Deep Blue. I believe there are 5 of them. And Serafina is going to be betrothed this day, and she's got, you know, a nice dress and all of these fancy things, and her friends are going to be there, and it doesn't turn out the way she thinks it's going to. Her parents end up murdered, she ends up going into hiding, and someone else takes over her throne. So she spends the series trying to capture her throne back, evade being captured herself, and trying to figure out who she can trust and who she can't trust, and is the boy she loves on her side? Not on her side? It's all very tricky, but really great mermaid series.
Cool. My next one, I actually also picked an Aquaman story. So this is the new Aquaman comic by Kelly Sue DeConnick. If that name sounds familiar, it's because if you're a Captain Marvel fan, she made Captain Marvel relevant again. Like, the movie is based on her storylines. So this one has Arthur has amnesia. He doesn't know that he's Aquaman. He does not know that he is the king of Atlantis. Mera is trying to find him and trying to, like, Arthur, where are you? I'm just trying to get back to you. You need to come back to me. He has amnesia on an island, and maybe some of the people know who he is. Maybe they don't know who he is, but he's trying to figure it out. So if you kind of want to read Aquaman, but you don't know where to start, this is actually a pretty good jumping in point, because we don't know why he has amnesia. We might if we'd read the storyline beforehand, but I did not. So this is a pretty good jumping off point, because you will find out why at some point. And we have the first 2 volumes of this. I think the 3rd one is probably about to come out, but again, a lot of the comic publishing has been pushed back because of the pandemics. So, like, I'm getting single issues at my shop that should have come out, like, 2 months ago, like, that finally hit this week. So I don't know what that means for trades. But yeah, so this one was pretty good. The art is also pretty good, too, which I liked. There's little monsters. Yay.
Show us the art.
Oh, okay. Let's see. That's not great. Here we have a giant explosion and a big sea creature, so that was pretty fun. Yeah, I also liked it. They're not glossy paper. We're going back to, like, the regular old newsprint, which I kind of like, and it also smells better because I'm that nerd.
Fair. Alright, my last book is one of my favorites. Forgive My Fins. This is by Tera Childs, who is also really, really nice. So Lily has a secret. A, she has a secret crush on a boy, but B, she's a mermaid living on land. And she's a mermaid princess.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know, it's great. But what happens is, so one of the secrets about mermaids is when you kiss someone, you're then bonded together for life. So she wants to have
That's a lot of commitment.
It is. She wants to have her first kiss with her crush, of course. But kind of the jerky boy next door who rides a motorcycle, they end up kissing, and she's like, no, this is not the person I want to be with for the rest of my life. So then they try to break the bond, and it's this whole thing. But super great, super fun. There's a sequel, Fins Are Forever, and then I believe there's some spin-off tales, so really fun.
Ha, spin-off tales, because mermaids. That sounds like a really good summer read.
It's a great summer read.
Cool. So my last book is not quite a mermaid tale, but it's okay, because we'll get there. So this is Tom Taylor's X-Men Red. The X-Men relaunched a couple years ago, and they did the colors from the 90s, so like gold, blue, and they came out with red, which was Jean Grey's team. And I thought I would hate this book. This is my favorite X-Men book. I cried when they ended it to do a completely new relaunch, which has been very good, but I was so sad because I didn't get this team anymore. And part of what makes this team great is that Jean Grey somehow ropes Namor the Submariner in. So Namor is kind of like, a lot of the Marvel DC have like foils. So like, you have Batman in the DC universe. Well, Iron Man is the Batman of the Marvel universe. He's just cockier about everything. So Namor the Submariner is kind of like the Aquaman parallel. Only he's like really, really haughty about everything. Like he's such a jerk. I love him so much. And he yells, "Imperious Rex!" When he fights, and it's so great. And he's of course the king of Atlantis, and he lives in the sea. And he's actually a mutant too, which is how he gets roped into it. Part of the reason I love this team so much is that X-23, who's Wolverine in this she is a clone of Wolverine. If you've watched Logan, the little girl in that, this is the teen version of her. She, in fact, has a clone of herself, who's her little sister Gabby, who's awesome. Her code name is Honey Badger. Gabby loves to pun almost as much as Squirrel Girl, and so when one of my favorite scenes is from this book where she pats Namor the Submariner on his abs. He's like, "Great story, Abslantis, let's go." And he's like so mad, but it's so cute because she's 12 and precocious. She also might have a Wolverine as a pet that Squirrel Girl gave her, named Jonathan, but that's in their own comic. But yeah, so this is a fun comic. It's basically like, also if you love the whole idea of forwarding Professor Xavier's vision of like what a mutant world looks like within humanity, and like how we can build those bridges, Jean Grey is trying to like pick up that mantle and build those bridges, and it's a comic about empathy. But also you have a jerk King of Atlantis, which just makes it great. So, not quite mermaids, but under the sea.
That is true.
Alright, so that's, I think, all we have for this week.
That is.
Alright, so hopefully you'll pick up a couple of these books, because we are, in fact, open to the public again. Please wear a mask. Please social distance.
Yes. We'll see you guys next week.
Alright.